Hey friends! Okay, I have a lot more to talk about. I didn't get to finish recording last night, but I have a lot more to talk about. And this one's going to be a longer topic, which is funny because the union timeline one took several videos anyway. Ended up being 9 altogether, I think, with the ones that I got this morning, with the information I got this morning also. So I will try not to take too long. But this is a bigger, broader discussion that I want to have here. And this is about unconditional love. So I have a question for you guys. Do you truly understand what it means to have unconditional love for someone, for your twin? But for anybody, it starts with your twin. And what it means to embody that. Because I see a lot of comments from people on, it could be on my stuff, it could be in Facebook groups and whatnot, that just make me want to say to people, like, you don't understand what this journey is about. You don't understand what you are meant to be going through, what you're meant to be learning. And quite honestly, if you're not ready to truly embody unconditional love, then you're not ready to be with your twin. You're not ready for union. And you won't be. You won't come into union and you won't be with your twin as long as you're not ready. And you're not ready if you can't embody unconditional love. So, do you truly understand what that means? Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are totally missing that aspect of the twin flame journey and the twin flame connection. And that's because now popular culture has latched onto the term twin flames, and the misinformation going around about twin flames is so prevalent and ridiculous. It's everywhere. I mean, I literally was watching the Mighty Ducks new series on Disney Plus, and the teenager says, I met my twin flame. He's like a soulmate, but, more intense, or whatever she said. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, the twin flame journey is so far beyond any of those implications. And quite honestly, like, I personally don't know that I believe teenagers are meeting their twin flames. Although I actually think that I've had some very young people ask me. But I would question that. In fact, one person that did ask me, I checked with Spirit, and it was not a twin flame. It was a karmic soulmate, I want to say. But anyway, so yeah, the information is just, the misinformation is so bad. And that is causing a lot of confusion. But this is what this journey is ultimately about. Okay, so what is unconditional love? What does it mean to have unconditional love for your twin? Honestly, it truly means that you love them no matter what. That it doesn't matter what you have been through, what you will go through, what they have done, what you have done, what the situation is, like karmic situations, whatever. It doesn't matter. And, I really think that for many, many twin flames, they come to realize that they are twin flames because of the fact that they recognize that they have this unconditional love for this person, that they go through things with them and they're not able to let go, and they're not able to move on, and they realize that they love them no matter what. And that's what brings them to the realization of that this is a twin flame connection. But we have to understand, and I've talked about this in previous videos about the wounded masculine and your wounded twin, and how they act and how they behave, and because of those wounds. So I really think in 99.9% of twin flames, you're going to go through these early phases of the connection when your twin doesn't act how you think that they should. Because, for one thing, everybody thinks that twin flames are soulmates and that it's going to be a perfect relationship, so they should act like a perfect partner. No, that's not going to happen. But quite honestly, there are so few people in the world that are perfectly healed and are going to act exactly how they should anyway. And that's another topic that I will somewhat come back to. But my point is simply that you should expect that on a twin flame journey, you are going to go through phases of your twin not acting how you think that they should. Now, that could be blatant stuff, or it could be just minor stuff that is just because of, they're working through things, they're working through their healing. But, I basically mean, like, is some of it just who they are because of their core wounds, or are they cheating? Are they ghosting you? Are they, I'm trying to think of examples. Of course I can't think of them on the spot. Are they running from the connection? Are they pushing you away? Are they hurting your feelings? Are they doing anything really? Behaving in any sort of way that is a defense mechanism. Picking up where I got cut off. Are they behaving in any sort of way that is a defense mechanism from their core wounds because they simply are not ready yet? They're not ready to be with you yet. Twin flames are meant to come together no matter what. True twin flames, no matter what. Because of assisting ascension, because of your soul connection and soul journey. And that is how and why you get through the phases of unhealed trauma causing you and your twin to behave badly and to behave in ways that hurt each other. So expect to go through those cycles. Expect to go through those phases. Expect to be dealing with, everybody has karmic situations. Like, again, 99.9% of twins have karmic situations of some type. It doesn't have to necessarily be a karmic partner, but it's the most common. Karmic situations can be anyone. They can be family, friends, work, whatever, and divine feminines have them as well. But sometimes divine feminines go through that before they meet their twin. Sometimes they go through it at the same time also. Everybody has karmic situations. Are you hurt because your twin is in a karmic situation and they have to figure out how to get out of it? That's not their fault. Okay, you need to recognize that a karmic situation is happening for a reason. Just like your connection is meant to be, so is the karmic situation. The karmic situation is also in the soul contracts, is also divinely orchestrated and planned in order to teach your twin the lessons necessary for their soul journey. They are meant to meet that person or be in the situation, whatever it is. They are meant to go through all of that for the lessons and for learning how to overcome it as well, to stand in their sovereignty and take back their power from toxic individuals. All of that is happening for a reason as well. You have to accept that they are not choosing someone else over you because they don't love you and they love that other person, if it's a karmic partner. You have to realize and accept that that person is meant to be in their life for a reason as well. It's temporary. It will come to an end. It has absolutely nothing to do with how much your twin loves you or the other person. It actually is more of a reflection of how much they love you because your twin is wounded. They are not behaving from a healthy, stable place. So they are running from their true love because it scares the crap out of them and settling for an unhappy thing just for convenience. So you have to have those realizations. Clearly, I'm going to continue to tangent along this train of thought. Okay, so anyway, I was trying to give examples of different reasons or ways that your twin might hurt you, or you just would be struggling on the twin flame journey. And so now I'm going to go back to the central point. So with true unconditional love, none of that matters. None of it matters, and you will get past all of it because you can't even help it. You just love them so much. I mean, at this point, the best way I can explain this is to use myself as an example. So, my twin and I, we met in 2013 and we had a rocky few years. I can't get into all of the specifics of our story because it's very involved. The karmic partner did a lot of spiritual warfare that I had to defeat. But aside from that, There was a rocky few years, just as expected for any twin flame journey. And yeah, I was hurt and upset about various things. I see them all differently now in hindsight. Now I understand why all of those things had to happen the way that they did. I understand why they did, and I understand why they did from his perspective, as well as a higher spiritual perspective, as well as a spiritual warfare perspective. But aside from that, my point is simply to state that, yeah, there was stuff that happened that hurt and upset me. Yeah, you could say that it was borderline toxic. I don't like to use those words because I don't want him to potentially watch this video and think that I hold anything against him, because I don't, because I fully 100% understand everything. And I understand how his behavior was because of his core wounds. So yeah, anyway, but I understand that perspective from the 3D perspective, from what everybody else would think. Even though I understand it now differently. So the point is simply that, like, yeah, it was up and down for a while. It was tough. I struggled. I tried to move on, but ultimately the love that I have for him was just so overwhelming that the pain from any of the difficulties paled in comparison to the amount of unconditional love that I had for him. And even when I was mad, like, I knew that I was forgiving him even when I was mad, because I couldn't even help it. Like, I couldn't stay mad at him if I tried. So that is how I came to that realization. Okay, so yeah, that's my example of how I came to that realization that it didn't matter the things that had happened between us, or with the karmic partner, or anything else. I simply just could not. It was not possible for me to stay mad at him. And not only that, but the pain of trying to force myself to move on was so immense that, again, the pain of the things that happened paled in comparison. The pain of the things that happened, okay, yeah, that made me mad for sometimes, and it made me upset sometimes. But the pain of trying to force myself to move on, what made me want to kill myself. So yeah, I came to that realization that my soul was telling me that it doesn't matter about what's happened, that you are meant to be with this person, you are meant to have him in your life, and you are not moving on. So that is how I came to that realization. I do feel that a lot of twins realize they're twins in that way. So, or in similar ways, I should say, not the exact same, obviously. But it's that coming to that understanding that you love this person no matter what. It does not matter what you have gone through. It does not matter what you will go through, because honestly, at that point in time, I had no idea what the next however many years would entail. And what came in those next however many years wasn't his fault either. It was the karmic and her manipulations and trying to control and force the situation for her benefit. But honestly, like, he and I have been through, in the last 9 years, I can't believe it's been 9 years already, but in the last 9 years, he and I have been through, like, the worst of, for better or worse, like the worst possible. And we're still, how we feel has only strengthened, has only increased. And, I have absolutely no doubt that we will, be okay. But yeah, like on the twin flame journey, like, you're expected to go through the worst of for better or worse, and truly understand what it means to love someone unconditionally. Like, it really means, I have notes because I didn't want to forget. It really means, like, you love the good, the bad, and the ugly. You see someone for everything, all of who they encompass. And let's step back here and recognize that nobody is perfect. Absolutely no one in this world is perfect. You are not going to find a knight in shining armor who is going to sweep you off your feet and behave perfectly all the time and be a perfect romantic partner. Like, it doesn't exist, okay? And I have to say that I am so sick of parents and families and friends who make you feel like you should be, holding out for that perfect partner. The perfect partner does not exist, okay? There might be some people who aren't twin flames, usually, who have soulmates, who are able to act that way, who are able to act perfect. And they get to have these easy, happy, magical relationships. It's rare, okay? I would have to ask Spirit for a percentage, but it's rare. The majority of people in the world are wounded. They are not behaving like stable, healthy, happy, perfect individuals. And that's the thing. Like, so many times you'll see these graphics and memes or whatever the heck you will call them on Instagram and social media that say something to the effect of, if your man or your partner really loved you, they would act like this. That is not true. You know why it's not true? Because people are not whole, healed, and healthy psychologically and emotionally. Okay? That is only true for someone who is. That is only true for someone who has a stable attachment. I can't even say disorder, because it wouldn't be a disorder. They would be healthy and stable. So they have a stable, healthy attachment psychologically, which goes back to their childhood. And they don't have these significant core wounds from childhood where there could be anything, abandonment, commitment issues, whatever it may be, inner child wounds, self-esteem, self-worth, all that stuff. The only people who are capable of behaving in the way that those memes and stuff say is people who are completely psychologically and emotionally healthy and don't have any issues affecting them. Everybody else is wounded, is damaged, is traumatized from something, whether it was from childhood or later on in life, from other relationships. Those can be friendships or romantic relationships, and they behave in ways that are contradictory to what you think they should, or what you feel that they should, because if they loved you, they would act like this. No, these, especially twin flames, because twin flames are all wounded, they are not healthy and capable of behaving like that. They behave in ways that it's twofold. Hold that thought. I won't go into this in depth because I did do previous videos about it, but like I was saying, especially twin flames, they're all wounded and they do not behave in the way that we are told someone should behave, because they are not healthy, whole, and healed. They are instead behaving in a way that is either protecting their wounded inner child by running from true love because it scares the crap out of them, because what if one day, it's not even a what if. In their mind, it is, one day you will realize that I'm not worth it and that I don't deserve you, and then you'll end up breaking my heart. So I can't allow myself to completely be vulnerable and pour my heart out to you, because one day one day it will be broken when you realize that you deserve better and you leave me. That is what is going through their heads. It may or may not be exactly like I said. It may or may not be a conscious thought process, but that is what is going through their heads. So they are running from the connection in those early phases because they are protecting their hearts from what they feel will be inevitable pain. And they are also pushing you away because they feel you deserve better, because their self-worth and self-esteem is so low from all of the traumas that they've been through that they feel that you deserve better. And so they push you away to find that better, and they think you'll be able to move on and that they'll be able to move on. And then you both discover that you can't. So this is how wounded people behave. They do not behave in the way of, if this person loved you, they would act like this. No, they do the opposite. So all of those graphics that you see that say something to that effect, understand that wounded individuals behave the opposite of that while they're still wounded. And the twin flame journey, they're all going to act like that, because all twin flames are going through this healing process for these deep core wounds. Like, I really don't think that there are any twins that aren't. I really don't. So expect that behavior, understand it psychologically, understand that, and anybody with an avoidant attachment disorder, a disorganized attachment disorder, or a anxious ambivalent attachment disorder, they are all going to behave in these other ways that are contradictory to what society is telling you this is how they should act, okay? And this goes back to the good, the bad, and the ugly that I was talking about. You have to be able to, the unconditional love means seeing someone for all aspects of themselves, the best parts and the worst parts, okay? What they do intentionally, what they don't do intentionally, what is just their personality and core being, not even personality, but just core being because of their inner child wounds. It's seeing and loving all and accepting all of that. I looked back at my notes and I wrote something down that I saw the other day, and it said, people who are trapped in their pain body are easily triggered, manipulated, and weak in the soul. That is what all of these wounded individuals are working through and going through. And like I said, that's all twin flames. Divine feminines also, although divine feminines go through their healing process before the divine masculines do. So you really need to, I know you don't all have psych degrees, but the twin flame journey kind of requires you to be able to understand your twin from this psychological perspective of why they act the way they do. And this is part of that. Let me read that again. People who are trapped in their pain body are easily triggered, manipulated, and weak in the soul. So the pain body is that wounded inner child, whatever it is. This is why twins go to a karmic partner instead of their twin flame, because their twin flame embodies the unconditional love that they don't have that unconditional love for themselves yet. You know, nobody is able to acknowledge or admit that. Everybody has grandiose, I'll say ego, although that may or may not be the right word, but people who have these struggles, insecurities, especially men, they can't acknowledge that because of how society treats men. And so they project the ego and pride to make up for it. But so they don't have a lot of conscious acknowledgement of it, but it does stem from these deep insecurities. It does stem from not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling deserving. And the unconditional love from a twin flame, they don't feel worthy of it. So instead, they run from it and they settle for a karmic partner who is easily manipulating them because they're not as strong as what they would like to think, which they will get there. They will heal and they will get there. That's what this journey does. That's what it takes them to. It takes them through these dark nights of the soul and karmic situations in order to show them you do deserve better than this, and help them conquer those feelings and those situations and choose better. But yeah, they go through these phases and these cycles of that pain and that inner trauma, keeping them stuck in these cycles and phases of being easily, I hate to say it because they're not going to like it, but being easily controlled and manipulated and stuck in these toxic situations until they strengthen from their core and in their souls and overcome it. Honestly, me even saying that out loud for some divine masculines, that's going to be hard for them to hear because they don't want to see that side of themselves. They don't want to see themselves as weak. But the truth is that these are cycles that they go through. And honestly, that everybody goes through. It's not just them, everybody. But this is what the deal is with the karmic situations. And the divine masculines who are on the path for union and are getting through their transformation and their awakening, they will be able to hear that, and they might not like hearing it, but they will be able to acknowledge it and acknowledge how far they've come and how much they've overcome and how much stronger they are. and how that they are now able to fight for themselves and fight for their happiness, and maybe also fight for their kids, or maybe also fight for other aspects of their lives or people around them, depending on the situations, and fight for their twin also, and fight for the happiness with their twin. And they will be able to recognize that they are a lot stronger now and that they have gone through a lot, and hopefully eventually also be able to see that higher spiritual perspective of how it all happened for a reason, and how it helped them get on the right path for themselves of true happiness and fulfillment, and no longer settling for less, because they really do deserve better. And honestly, like for me, my heart, not just from the unconditional love, but from compassion and empathy, just reaches out to them so much. Like I just want to hug their wounded inner child and say, like, you do deserve all of this. Like, I can't let you think like that. And I literally am like that with my twin. I'm like, I can't let you think like that. And I will, say stuff to him all the time about how worthy he is. So anyway, so yeah, that is the state that they are in, why they act that way. And you really do have to have understanding for that. But again, that goes back to the good, the bad, the ugly stuff. That explains to you why the karmic situations happen, but also, like I said, with understanding the unconditional love on this journey, you really have to, you will get to that point of being able to see everything and love all of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And none of it matters, because the love far outweighs anything else. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to talk about with this, but it shifts a little bit. So I'm going to start a new video for that, and this is just about reaching the end anyway. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to address in terms of the unconditional love is I also read online the other day, someone posted that unconditional love is a vibration and a frequency, not an emotion. Emotions fluctuate and change, but vibrations and frequencies don't change. They stay the same. And there is a lot of truth to that. This is something that I actually need to flesh out more in terms of understanding and being able to explain it. But I can see this more when you compare with other people also, because with the twin flame journey, you first learn how to love your twin unconditionally, and then it will evolve to other people as well. But that's a process. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm far along in my awakening process. I'm able to stay in the 5D most of the time, and I'm able to hold that unconditional love frequency and emotion for my twin essentially all the time. Like, I would say 99.9% of the time. I'm not perfect. I have my moments, but 99.9% of the time I feel like I'm able to hold that and maintain that and stay there. But when it comes to other people, I still struggle with it. And I've had, since June, I've had several different examples in my life where I do feel like Spirit is now teaching me about how to hold that unconditional love for others also. And I've definitely been tested in that respect. It's interesting as well. I didn't talk about the aspect of spiritual warfare with your twins and how much that affects them also. I bring it up now because it's been part of what I've dealt with the other people. Spiritual warfare does make a huge difference. Like, I talked about all the psychological reasons why your twin will behave in negative ways, but there's also spiritual warfare causes that too. Spiritual warfare causes very negative behavior, as well as like overnight drastic changes of, very, very negative behavior that you might go, what the hell? Like, I deserve better than that. And, you feel like you should run away from this person, have red flags, whatever. Spiritual warfare can cause all of that, whether it's black magic or demonic entities causing this. That can cause your twin to act in these ways, and you would have no idea necessarily unless you spoke to a practitioner who could diagnose it and deal with it. And that makes a huge difference and has a huge impact on twins also, and it is dependent on the divine feminine fixing it and removing it. But just to continue my example, so I had that come up with other people around me since June. Without getting into all of the specifics, my soul group was attacked by a group of demons, I think. I never got a full explanation to how many it was, but anyway. And those demons definitely affected half or more of my soul group significantly. These are people that I was extremely close with, that I talked to every day. And literally overnight, they stopped speaking to me. Like, nothing happened. This is the key thing. And you can use this to understand with your twin also, because this is what the type of thing that can happen. Literally nothing happened between us that would cause them to overnight stop speaking to me and refuse to answer me, sometimes even refuse to open my messages, of me being like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, what happened? Like, you can't even give me an explanation. But I am able to recognize that that was a result of the spiritual warfare, of the spiritual attack that happened to the group. And it's been an ongoing thing for various reasons. And there was even someone else who, at first we were fine, and then something happened to her later. And even though the demonic entity was removed, she still is in a lot of negative energy, and she's still just behaving completely differently from what she was before. And I got to a point where I'm going to be blunt. I could not allow her to continue to treat me or others in the soul group in the way that she was. And we got into an argument, and she even said the words like, I can't remember exactly how she put it, but she used the words conditional. She was saying that we were treating her like, our friendship and the love between us was conditional. And, I have to say, like, there's a big difference. And I'm using this in terms of the unconditional love again. There's a big difference between conditional love and having boundaries. Because unconditional love does not mean you can treat me however you want. And when your twin is in those toxic stages or negative stages where they are not behaving in healthy ways and they might be hurting you in some way, yeah, you might have to have boundaries, because it's not okay. Like, it is totally, right and justified to say it's not okay for you to treat me like that. Now, it's one thing when it's your twin flame. It's another thing when it's someone else. When it's your twin flame, honestly, you can't even help forgiving them. Like, you will get past whatever they did that hurt you faster than you even realize. But when it's someone else, that's harder. We don't have that soul connection that automatically, like, I think that it's safe to say that one of the automatic qualities of a twin flame soul connection is that you have that unconditional love just like built into it because of the soul ties. You don't have that with other people. So it's different. So we are learning, like, we start off with our twin flame, and now we're learning to apply that unconditional love to others in order to continue to lift the vibration of humanity for ascension. And it's hard. It's not easy. I really think that, having the understanding of that impact of the spiritual warfare was important for me to be able to understand that that there are other influences here on why these people that I was so close to are acting the way that they are. That definitely provides layers of understanding for me that helps. But I definitely see it as spirit teaching me about stepping back and holding space for them, loving them from a distance, having boundaries, what did I write down? And having forgiveness as well. And understand that there is a difference between the conditional love and having boundaries as needed when someone is behaving from the pain body instead of behaving from a healed, whole, healthy place. And, you know, they can't see that. You know, I would not at all be surprised if they saw this video, any of them, and had something to say about it because when you're in that state, you can't see things clearly. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, like I'm better, I know better or anything like that. I just, look, I am from, my perspective is like stepped back and being able to see things from a higher perspective and like if I was an ego or in the ego center or 3D or whatever, like I'm not reacting out of anger or hurt or frustration right now. I'm just like stating the facts. And there's a lot to it. But so anyone that you might be dealing with, like they might not be able to understand that in the moment, but that's what it is. To finish my thought where I got cut off, but that's what it is. That's what's going on. And you have to really be able to, with anybody, like I said, and this is part of the lessons, you have to really be able to step back, focus on understanding from the other perspectives, their perspective, the spiritual perspective, if there's any external influences or things going on. Recognize the unhealed parts of recognize the unhealed parts of them. Hopefully, anybody who's going through this process of healing will at some point be able to recognize the unhealed parts of themselves and work on it. That's what this journey is bringing them through. And spirit will force that process, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously. So that's something else to take into consideration. Your twin will be forced through that process, and anybody else that you know. But you have to, in order to hold that unconditional love for someone else, you have to be able to recognize the unhealed parts of themselves, recognize that the other perspectives, and hold space for them, and hold forgiveness for them, and hold love for them, hold that unconditional love frequency for them from a distance. And it's okay to do it from a distance. It's not conditional. It's just holding boundaries for yourself as needed while they are in that state. And that, I think, is the best way that right now that I can explain and understand myself how that unconditional love is a vibration and frequency that you're working on maintaining over time, and is not that fluctuating emotion, if that makes sense. So anyway, I think that is most everything that I wanted to say and talk about. This was all in reaction to seeing people who are like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm not sticking around for this. I'm not waiting any longer. Anything like that. It's like, do you really understand what unconditional love is, what it means, and how to embody it? Because if you're acting like any of those things that I just said, and you can't embody everything that I explained through these videos, like you're not ready for union, you're not ready to be with your twin, and you're not going to be. And you're not going to get to be with your twin until you can do that. So you're either a twin ray and you're being tested and you're being taught how to do this, and you may or may not come into union this lifetime. Or if you're a normal twin flame and you are meant to come into union, it's guaranteed for twin flames, you have to embody that unconditional love, and you have to get past those things that you're hung up on. Okay? I want to say one more thing real quick about the unconditional love stuff. So, yeah, you know, we all have our hang-ups about things that have happened in the past, or how you want to be treated, or things that you need. Like, not even necessarily it's about how you're treated, but it's about like effort and stuff like that. So we all have our things that we focus on. And I just want to say that over the course of my journey, like, yeah, when I talked about the unconditional love stuff, I talked about stuff that happened in the past and how I felt in the past. And I made it a point to say that I don't like to use the word toxic, because I don't want my twin to see this and then think that I, you know, hold anything against him. It's important to me to point out, and partially for him and also for you to gain more understanding of this, that over the course of your journey, this is, even though your twin flame is the person who is making you go through this process of inner reflection and healing, and you project it at them, you mirror each other and you project your wounds at each other, and it's like you're seeing in your twin things that need to be healed, that if from your perspective you're saying my twin needs to heal this, do better, whatever, but it's also a reflection of yourself. It's also mirroring the wounds within yourself and what you need to work on and heal. So over the course of your journey, you will find that you stop feeling those ways. Like you stop being hung up on something from the past. You're able to release it and let it go, and it won't like hold you back emotionally anymore. It won't affect you emotionally anymore. You won't hold it against your twin anymore. You'll be able to forgive, release it, and move on. I mean, move on like with your twin, not move on from your twin. And you also, like some of that other stuff, you'll heal those wounds within yourself. Like you'll realize whatever it is that you think that you need certain things, like you're going to heal that internal reasons, wounds that are making you feel that way, and you're going to embody that unconditional love for yourself first. You're going to realize that you're strong enough and capable enough to take care of yourself, and you don't need your twin, you just want your twin. And you're going to embody that unconditional self-love, self-care, and like goddess warrior status, taking control of your life. And then as your twin does the same, then you'll be able to come together, and you won't have those hang-ups with each other. You won't be holding anything against each other. Hold that thought. To pick up where I left off, you won't be holding anything against each other. You will fully understand each other's perspectives. You will see how the healing helped both of you. You won't have that need anymore. Like, oh, I forgot. One of the things that I had wanted to talk about was that, like, now where my twin and I are now and how I feel now, I know that moving forward, once we come into union, which is very close, but not just yet. I can't elaborate yet. I will when I can. But when we come into union, I know that he's not perfect. I know that we're going to have differing opinions about different things like parenting and other stuff. And, I know that he and I will work through that stuff. And I am fully open to being able to work through that stuff, or to doing things differently on certain things, whatever it may be. It depends on what the subject is. But the point is that I am not going to allow any of that to interfere with our relationship or our connection. Like, there are so many people who do focus on those things, and they do let that stuff come between them. But for true twin flames, you're going to get to the point where none of that stuff really matters. If you have a disagreement, you'll deal with it in a healthy way, and you'll handle it in a healthy way, and you will be able to move forward together however you choose to handle it. But that's not going to be a barrier to you. So all of you should expect that over the course of your journey, your perspectives and feelings are going to change. You're not going to stay hung up on that stuff. And you're going to be able to have a positive, healthy relationship, healthy communication, and move forward as expected for being in union and having a happy, healthy, harmonious relationship. It's not going to be perfect all the time. It's still a real relationship, and you're still going to work through more healing together also, but you will be able to handle it together in a better way than when you're in your wounded states. And I also want to add that for those who are stuck in those mentalities and who do feel the need to address those things, like they need their twin to say this, they need their twin to say that, they need their twin to make up for this or that or whatever. Like, for me personally, like, I do not want my twin to feel guilt or shame or anything from the past or even the present, to be honest. I would never provoke those wounds. I would never give him more reasons to feel unworthy or to provoke his self-worth issues or those original inner child wounds. Like, I only want to help his healing process. So you need to take that into consideration, okay? And choose the higher path. Don't choose the dwelling in the 3D, because that's just going to delay your own process. But at the same time, you can only do what you're capable of. So what are you capable of right now? I got interrupted and I had to transcribe this last video to be able to re-record it. So I'm going from what I wrote down, okay? Understand that what you are or aren't capable of yet in terms of understanding the necessary lessons, awakening, or acceptance of all of this stuff is a reflection of where you are at and if you are ready for union. If you are still hung up on anything, then you aren't ready yourself and you have more healing to get through, okay? This is important to realize because everybody wants union to happen now. But if you're not ready yet, then it's not going to happen yet regardless. Like the divine feminine comes into inner union first before the masculine, which means completing the healing process, okay? The pain that you feel in separation and the need and the ache for your twin, this is not a reflection of anything that your twin is doing. This is a reflection of the healing that you still need to get through. That pain, that need, that ache, that is your own soul pointing out to yourself your own inner wounds that need to be worked on and healed, okay? Spirit will not bring you two together until that happens, until you don't feel that intense need anymore, because it's not about you not feeling the need, it's about where your healing is at, okay? You have to find your inner union first, and then, you have to find your inner union first, and that means knowing that you are okay on your own. It doesn't mean that you have to be on your own and alone forever. It just means that you're okay. Okay, you don't need someone else. You don't need your twin. You have everything that you need within yourself. You love yourself unconditionally. You're not ashamed of anything about yourself either. And you are, and you have that full acceptance of yourself and the ability to take care of yourself, okay? And then that is when you are ready, and that is when spirit can align union from the physical as well with your twin. But it also depends on when your twin is ready. So the union timeline is first when you are ready, and then it is also when your twin is ready. And like I said, divine feminine reaches that point first, divine masculine later. So that is also when you will find yourself no longer feeling that need, no longer feeling that pain. That is when you will be surrendered. That is when you will no longer be either trying to give up on the journey or struggling through the pain. You will be surrendered and in flow with the universe and going with the flow of the journey and with spirit and ready for union, okay? That's when it won't hurt so much and it won't ache so much. It won't be completely gone because you'll get triggered sometimes and you'll feel it again, but it'll go away quickly. And that is going to happen in the lead up to union to pull out any remaining issues, okay? Okay, still going by what I transcribed. The divine feminine is ready first because she is the leader in the connection and she leads the masculine. She also makes all of the major decisions for the connection, not in the 3D, in the 5D, from a soul level. Divine feminine makes the major decisions. And she is the lighthouse and the beacon for the masculine. The divine feminine has to hold space for the masculine while he finishes his side of the process. And the feminine is a beacon or a lighthouse for the masculine to find his way as he is more and more ready to be in that true unconditional love relationship. Because you think of it as he's lost at sea in these dark nights of the soul that are clouding his vision and that he's struggling through, but it's also strengthening him and healing him. And hence you being the lighthouse that gives him something to focus on to find his way home, first to himself, to his true self, and then home to you, okay? This is why I would never choose to say or do anything to trigger my divine masculine's wounds by blaming him or shaming him for any mistakes that he has made, past or present or future, to be honest, because I never want him to feel that. I never want him to go back to feeling unworthy again, and I do everything that I can to help him stop feeling that way. Divine feminines, you have to understand his side of the process, hold space and love for him, forgive his faults and his wounds, understanding that nobody is perfect. Everybody has these faults and wounds. Everybody has the worst side and the ugly side, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And nobody is perfect. It's just who is perfect for you. Your twin is. They were made for you, literally. So it's seeing all of that, accepting all of that, no matter what, even when you're frustrated, Okay, you work through the frustrations, not holding it against them, not poking their wounds, helping their healing process as well, not hindering it, and just staying in that unconditional love vibration and perspective. That is the focus and purpose, one of them, of the journey, okay? Or for how to get through it and what you're supposed to achieve, basically, okay? So there's one more thing I want to mention to keep in mind. This will roll over because I'm not going to finish it in 30 seconds, but I'll go ahead and start it. Keep in mind that once you're in union, when it comes to union and the rest of your lives, it's still a normal relationship, okay? You can come into union before you guys are 100% healed anyway. I want to say I was told by Spirit that the threshold is 80%. So you might still work through some of the healing process after you're together also. Okay, so keep that in mind because that's an important thing for managing all of that. So even after union, it's still going to be a normal relationship with arguments, with ups and downs. You're going to have to work through stuff. You're not going to agree on every single thing, okay? You're going to have a happy, healthy, harmonious relationship, but healthy relationships include conflict sometimes, include disagreements, and it's about how you work through those things. And you are going to, once you both achieve that level of healing, you will be able to work through that stuff from a respectful place, not from that toxic, wounded place, okay? You're not going to run. You're not going to fight dirty, those types of things. You will be able to talk through this stuff. And with what you disagree on, okay, so now it's going to change from the past to the present or future, whatever. Your disagreements could be on things like finances, parenting, political stuff, other things that I can't think of right now, but just, all normal relationship stuff for long-term relationships. So here's another thought for you. Are you going to abandon your twin because of disagreements over any of that conditional stuff, any of that stuff that's not really that important in the grand scheme of things, although it depends on what it is. Parenting stuff is more important, obviously. And some things I kind of think twins would naturally agree on because of being two halves of one soul. But still, the point being, are you going to abandon your twin because of any of that stuff? If you don't feel ready to compromise and work through that stuff, then you're not ready for union yet. It's that simple. And also, don't think of marriage as a chance to make sure that your twin never leaves you again. If you think like that, then you're no better than the karmic and you're not ready for union. You still have healing to do. I personally see union as an eternal commitment. I want to grow old with my twin, but I don't need to be married to know that. I see the twin flame connection as a spiritual marriage that overrides any soul contract. In fact, I don't just see that. I know that. But you don't need legal paperwork for that. You don't need legal paperwork or a marriage contract to know that you're going to spend the rest of your life with your twin. What you do is up to you. I personally still hope to get married for the legal protections, but I don't need to get married to know that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him, and to know that we're going to grow old together. So if you're ready for union, that is something that you will have that knowing and understanding of as well. You won't feel like you need to be married to make sure they don't run again, okay? Okay, so that's pretty much everything now on this topic. I needed to check because I lost my spot, make sure if I forgot anything. And just the last thing I'm going to say is that everything that I've been explaining here, hold on. Everything I've been explaining here today is the process of embodying that true unconditional love, spiritual rebirth, and higher vibration and frequency. And when needed, self-assess to see where you're at and if there's any work you need to do still as well.